Hey everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of Shaking the Damn Table, and we are back again. And actually we have a couple changes this week, so as you can see, we don't have Memory on the couch anymore. She's going to school, University of Denver, for communications and computer science.
Shout out Memory.
Hey man, best of luck, secure that degree.
Yes,
Making
so definitely
moves.
send her like shout outs and everything like that. Go and support her, and hopefully she has good luck with school and everything, get that master's.
Hey.
So y'all know John and David, our co-hosts for the week, and we want to introduce you to our guest, Cody, CoCo. Go ahead and
Hello. I do an introduction right now?
yeah,
Okay.
go ahead, introduce whatever what you do. and
What
all
I do?
that
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Birmingham. Shout out to 205.
Hey.
I now work at 95.7 Gems. I'm also the host and founder of CoCo's Tea, the media outlet for all things I am the real CoCo, which is I. And I've been doing my podcast for like 4 years now. So
Oh.
I always like to go on other people's shows and,
Y'all didn't tell me we was gonna have celebrity on there.
Special guest.
It's very special.
That's too much pressure. Yeah, but that's it. That's pretty much it.
No. All right, so we'll go ahead and go into the segment, starting with the move of the week.
Hey, what's good, everybody? So, a lot of y'all might know the Kickback podcast, but they have an event coming up called Kickback After Dark. It's an event they've done it's reoccurring. I haven't been before, but they're having it's TKB and then the creatives After Dark are back at it again with another round. And performing will be The Problems, NBDMG, Big Papito, Kudos, Digidon, and Champ Santiago. That's my boy Champ. Actually, his name on Twitter is Who Is Champ. Follow him. He's dope. He's a dope DJ. But the prices will be $5 and it's 21 and up. So its category is music. So it's definitely gonna be, like Ish and all them out there. Like they Melvin.
Turn.
Right.
Yeah. Then Amber off Twitter. She's a member too. Now y'all know Amber. Yeah, her name is like some Ambino on Twitter. But yeah. So this event is gonna be on Friday, April 19th. From 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. at the Upside Down Plaza. So that's it's on Mongolia Avenue South in Birmingham. So 4 miles from here. So definitely pull up if y'all want to get some of those vibes. That's the first event, and the next one I got is for all the Office lovers out there like myself, because that's probably top 5 shows for me.
Top five.
Crazy good. If you know, you know. That's all I say. But the Birmingham Barons are having an event called the Office Night on this Saturday, 4/20, at 6:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. I'm assuming it's a game they're having with it, but it says Barons beats and Battlestar Galactica. For the first time ever at Regents Field, the Barons celebrate The Office and bring Scranton, PA to the Magic City. Tonight's game will include Office-themed on-field promotions and much more. The first 1,000 fans in attendance will receive a special Office-themed T-shirt presented by Coca-Cola. So, I've been to Barons like twice, and it's cool if you like baseball and The Office is. If you can relate to The Office, definitely that makes it better. So, yeah, that wraps it up.
Alright, so let's go ahead with John with the business of the week.
Alright, so this is my first time doing this, so
Come on, first
bear with
segment.
me. My heart beating kind of fast.
Witness to history.
I got to be a little selfish, just since I'm here now,
Okay,
So I did 2 people I know, 2 businesses I know.
Turn up. Go
First person is Demetri. He actually shoots my videos. So if you've seen Jing and Jams or the game show Cat Shoe that we do, he's the one that films it and edits it. So he shoots pictures. So you need a photo shoot, you need some editing, whatever you want to do, he gonna film it. He fire. He also makes clothing, which if you know me, I wear this on head a lot. He wears it's Happy Thoughts. He has positive clothing. This is also his shirt. It says Love First. He got stuff that says like Good Vibes Only, Good King. He got sweatshirts, all type of stuff, man. It's all centered around positivity. So he's a dope creator.
dope,
so follow him. I forgot to put his I think it's that plus HQ Media. Yes, on IG. And my second one is somebody we know dearly is the twins, man. Kendra and Kleneice. We've known them for since we got the UAB, so for years, and then kind of the two of the sweetest women you'll ever meet in your life. So they're social media strategists. So if you got a business, you're an entrepreneur, they'll help you market it. They help like 30 entrepreneurs and small businesses across the world. They help them increase as much as like $10,000. So they out here helping people. They're really sweet. They really care. They only focus like 5 to 7 groups at a time, so they can focus really on you. So they're really good. So check them out. Follow them at Humble and Whole on IG. So those are my two.
Definitely. That's dope. Where our t-shirts at though, bro?
Right.
Demetri got all this drip, bro. This is awesome for show.
So first of all, the price is listed on his website.
Sure.
Alright, so y'all ready for the trivia?
Oh yeah.
So every week we do a little Black History trivia, and we have like these little color-coded cards that'll just be your answer choices. So I'll just read out the question to you. If you need me to repeat it, I will.
I'm go ahead and look at the cards?
Yeah, you can look at the cards. They're just A, B, and C.
Oh, I thought you were saying the answers were on the card.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay, so A, B, C, and D options. Okay, I'm a little slow.
Oh, you fine. So I'm just going to read it, and if you need me to repeat anything, let me know, and then I'll ask y'all to reveal the...
Just so y'all know, I'm good at this kind of stuff.
Oh.
And I'm competitive.
She the one you need. She be
Go
off.
ahead and be prepared. Like, I'm going to get this right.
She got a trick question, so
okay,
be
we'll
careful.
see.
She said it. Remember, she said that.
She do this.
So, question number 1. Who started BET and was the first African-American man to become a billionaire? Was it A, Reginald Lewis? Was it B, Robert L. Johnson? Was it C, Tyler Perry? Or was it D, Chris Washington?
B. I'm a pop culture enthusiast. I be knowing my stuff, okay?
Y'all ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, was I not supposed to say it?
You was.
Oh!
But you know,
Why did you say
I
I'm like that. I'm sure when
I'm supposed to say it out loud.
Say Chris Washington.
I was like, oh.
We're supposed to hold it up. We're supposed to hold it. Okay, I ruined it. I'm sorry, y'all. Start over.
These are just props. We don't use these.
My bad.
Well, we got 2 questions this week.
Cool. Best out of 2. Let's do it.
Yeah, I feel like I just fucked it all up. Okay.
Good.
All right.
But she got it right, so just...
I was wondering why she was so weak.
I thought you were trying to throw us off or something.
No, I was trying to beat y'all to the punch. That's what I thought we was doing. Okay. Yeah.
I could have been more clear.
Okay.
That's all good.
Right,
Do
Do I win that round? Or we gonna move to the next one and then? Okay.
I'm ready.
We all
have a point. That's fair.
Was
I right though?
You were right.
I'm just saying I wasn't right.
I was gonna say A like a bullet too, bro.
Were you really?
Yeah, I had my A ready.
I'm gonna say
I'm gonna do the next one right.
Loud and on, bro.
Alright, y'all ready? So who is the first Black woman to receive an Emmy for Best Actress in a Drama Series? Was it A, Angela Bassett, B, Taraji P. Henson, C, Regina King, or D, Viola Davis?
That's one of them questions that all sound right.
They all 5, bro.
They all 5. They all like, I can see them getting it.
Probably her. Probably her too. Yeah, probably her too.
You know what? All of them, bro.
Alright.
I guess.
Y'all ready?
Yeah.
And flip. CoCo was right.
Oh,
Hey! Davis. She won it for How to Get Away with Murder.
Wow.
I low-key thought it was Regina King. I knew it was probably between the 2.
I was like,
But I thought I
go
was
with
like, oh, she was the first one for that.
Yeah,
My
and it was
goodness.
recent. Yeah.
Right.
You know they've been playing.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
true.
So she said she was gonna win. Alright, look, we got one more.
We have one more. All right. So this one is close to what the topic is this week.
Oh.
So, who was the first openly transgender person to be nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in any acting category? Was it A, India Moore, B, Laverne Cox, C, Brian Michael Smith, or D, Harmony Santana?
Where you found these? You ain't find these on Google. You talk to somebody.
I bet she know it though.
I really don't. I mean, I'm a guess, but I mean.
You still ahead. You still got the victory scared.
Y'all ready to flip?
Yeah.
And flip. Everybody got it right. It
That's
was
good.
me. Okay.
Yeah.
Turn up.
So,
Shout out Laverne.
the winner still is CoCo.
Yeah.
Hey!
She pulled up and wrecked. Come
I
on.
just
She
want to
said it,
thank
bro.
my
She did.
mom and my
Yes,
dad for making sure that I was always watching Behind the Music on VH1.
Hey.
All the red carpets, like so that I can always know my pop culture trivia.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Came
That's the
through
first time
red.
that's happened, and that's historic right there. She set the tone.
Love the speech.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the topic for this week. So this week we want to talk a little bit about homosexuality and homophobia in the Black community. So I just wanted to bring up a couple of like points that I often see when we get into these topics of like homosexuality and stuff like that, and some things that have happened like this week. So first, we're all in the South.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes,
and I think we all go to church. Been to church at least.
Right?
Right,
Good
at least
correction.
been there.
I heard that play.
Currently.
So just like, as far as the South and like church and that growing up aspects and homosexuality, like how do you feel your views growing up towards like homosexuals or people who decided to even experiment or anything of that nature? Like, did you have some kind of like, did you already have like a kind of view on it, like made up as a child, like when things came up, like, no, that's bad instantly, or like, you know, just tell me some of your thoughts on that.
Cool. Interesting.
I guess I'll go first. I mean, growing up in a black, kind of Baptist, church or whatever, real. They went. Shout out my home church. Y'all, I love my home church, but you got the good and you got the bad, and things you're not supposed to do and things that are wrong. So yeah, I've heard growing up it wasn't right to be homosexual, and I guess for me, I kind of course I grew up in that. So as a child, that's what I think when I'm younger. I don't think that anymore, but definitely I never had a thing against like homosexuals, like I don't like them. It's just when I was younger, I was like, well, they're not living right, but that's none of my business.
Mm-hmm.
But since then I'm grown and matured, and but as a child, definitely, yeah.
And that's the crazy thing, like, when it comes to you, like, it's literally mirrors, like, what happened, like, my experience growing up. I mean, as I always have to say, what I'm saying, I grew up in an African household, so it wasn't the same as, like, an American household. So, and, in the past, I know there's been a reputation of, like, a lot of countries in Africa having, their views towards having a gay child is not good. Obviously I'm not speaking for all of Africa, but like there's a lot of countries where that's like just you can be disowned, or it's just like no, you know what I'm saying? So I know that didn't affect my parents' teaching, so that was never brought into like that, and I don't even know their views on it, but it's probably gonna be biblical though. It's like John was saying, I grew up in the church, like. I can count how many days I missed church growing up for a long span because we went every day. But every Sunday like clockwork. So yeah, I definitely grew up on Presbyterian and Baptist views of the Bible. So I grew up just thinking like the Bible says it's wrong, but like that was really all that I thought about it. As far as like, but as I got older, thinking about it more humanistically. That's changed, you know what I'm saying? But I just grew up on the, your standard, Bible, Christian view on it. So.
How about you?
For me, I think, like you guys said, we were all made to believe that homosexuality is wrong from an early age. And that was definitely the case in my family, specifically like on my mom's side of the family, because they're very like, I was gonna say drenched in religion, but like they grew up like Church of God, and even though like I feel like my parents tried to break away from like a lot of the traditional stigmas that come with being raised in the church, and kind of like rewire me and my brother to kind of think differently. Like, to a certain extent, they still had a lot of those, you know, those things that we're taught as a community from early on. And so I think for me, yes, like when I was younger, I definitely thought it was wrong. But I know when I was like maybe between middle and high school, I started thinking like, well, why is it wrong? Or why is it that, you know, these people feel this way? Because we're taught to believe that homosexuality is a choice. And so I was like, it doesn't seem like, because I had a cousin who I remember everybody in the family like suspected that he was gay. And I remember like him knowing that people were talking about it and him feeling a way about it, and then me also learning from him in that moment like it wasn't necessarily a choice. And that was my thing going forward, was like, okay, anybody who is gay, I don't feel like they are choosing this. Or, you know, and not to say that, you know, people make arguments all day, especially about women, who are like, oh, that she's tired of dealing with men, so she wanted to go, you know, be a lesbian now, you know, whatever the case may be. I definitely think there are situations where that does happen, or experimenting. And I don't think there's anything wrong with experimenting, because I truly believe that sexuality is a spectrum. It's not just black and white with you're straight, you're gay, or you can be bi but he can't be bi because he's a boy. Like, you know, I just feel like that's stupid. But for me, as I got older, I started questioning like whether or not it's a choice. And if it's not a choice, and how did they, you know, come to that reality? Like, what was their journey in their own sexuality? Like me, you know, bringing that humanistic standpoint to it.
Agreed. Definitely going into what you were saying about like it being the choice or not. Even with my own experience, I think like I grew up with, you know, a pastor, so definitely have like a view of this is like a sin. But also, like, in the church, it felt like this is, like, a big sin. And, like...
more than anything else.
Right. Like, it was, like, superseding
like abomination,
a lot of things.
Like,
right. And so, like, my first kiss was a girl. So, like, for me, that was kind of like, oh, this is just, like, whatever. Because we were, like, friends and stuff like that and everything. And then, like, growing up, it was kind of like, oh, dang, was that, like, a really, really bad thing to do? But, like... I had like those feelings or whatever, but I had feelings for like boys and stuff too, so it was kind of like, okay, well, I could just choose to be straight, I guess. Yeah, is what I was saying, because to me it was kind of like, well, I can't accept the gayness of the things like I've done or whatever, because that seems like it's such a bad thing or whatever. And like there's just the fact of Panther wanted to join the show. Hey P.
Good job, man.
Right. It was just the fact of like having this perception of what should be and like what's makes you a good person or not or whatever, and like not indulging in sin. And like the church always seemed like a closed off place towards people who spoke about that at all. And like, you know, in some churches there's some members like in
who are possibly gay.
Yes, who like be possibly gay, and people suspect, and they make it very like uncomfortable and stuff like that. Right. So I feel like as black people, like accepting, you know, one another when we're in places of worship, especially like being allowed to have people to open their truth, just like you would allow somebody to talk about whatever problems that they may have. Absolutely. Maybe it's saying that you want to help them through, because, you know, people can go in and talk about how they cheat on their wives, and the pastor will try to help them, you know, get to the right place, but you can't help, you know, somebody who is in love with somebody that you can't understand that concept.
I feel like it's one of the biggest contradictions in the black community is to be so mad at a man specifically, because I feel like it affects black gay men more than anybody else, that you're mad at them because they decide to be on the down low. But look at what you guys are doing for them to like they're choosing to be on the down low for a reason. It's because you guys are so quick to condemn and make them feel bad for who they truly are, that they feel like they have to live a lie. And that's one of the things that frustrates me the most. It's like, okay, you're mad at them for being on the down low, but are you contributing to the problem? Right. Because there's a reason why they decided to do that. You know, people don't naturally want to hide who they really are.
Right. Especially if it's like that's your homie or something like that. Exactly. Like, do you give an open space for your homie to tell you something like that?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But no, that reminds me, you know, Smile Jay-Z. Like literally talking about his mother and how she had to spend her whole life, you know, even her adult life, hiding who she truly was. And then he said he felt so much joy when she was finally able to just be.
Yeah.
And in the end of the song, she's talking. Yeah, that's like it's a beautiful thing. But yeah, I feel like society and like social media and stuff like that, especially has has spread that negative view and like the stuff that like we know, like we all know it from a Christian standpoint. But at the end of the day, like God loves everybody, and that's how we're supposed to be more like Christ. You're supposed to have that level of love and open-mindedness towards your fellow brothers, and because you have people that are Christians that are gay, and people that are not. Like we're still all people, so you have to like let someone figure out who they really are and find their happiness.
The least of these, come
Right.
on, prostitutes, sinners, everybody.
Yeah.
Right. You shouldn't put like treat it like this is this worst terrible thing compared to like sins that are just as bad or not just bad, but you know what I'm saying, like they're making them look like this is so much like this like condemned thing where like this huge thing versus like when we're all sinners. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's not fair, in my opinion.
Agree. So another topic that I saw like circulating in social media was talking about teaching LGBTQ plus history in schools. So what do you guys think about that? And they were talking about like even elementary, middle school, like any ages being taught that. Do you feel like there's a restriction on any of it, or do you feel like it shouldn't be or should be a focus in history?
That's a good question.
I don't feel like there's anything wrong with that. I just feel like, the same way we teach Black history in depth to a certain level, I think it should be the same way. Like, I think a lot of people hear, teach LGBTQ in the schools, like, that's gonna make them gay. No, actually not. It's not how sexuality works. But I don't necessarily think that just because you have that topic that you have to delve into, this is how sex works between two men or two women. Like, all you have to do is talk about the facts of what these people have accomplished without going to the actual sex of it. And I feel like people need to understand that the two can be separate. Like, they don't have to be like an overarching topic altogether, if that makes sense.
I think it should be taught. I mean, I think like we learn about all of the negative things in history, U.S. history, world history, and coming out, a person accepting themselves as a celebration. That's a very positive thing. We celebrate positives as well. That's what we grow up learning, the wars we won and politicians accomplishing the president, stuff like that. So a person accepting themselves is a positive thing. It's a celebration. Like, so yeah, that's set in history. All these laws that can get married now. That's part of history. So you can't exclude. That's part of it. Matter of fact, that's his part of world history. You can't exclude that. So you have to teach that at one point. So I guess the question would be what age.
Yeah, if there are any stipulations that you feel like, or do you feel like it can be taught to like any ages, or?
I feel that age is definitely important in a way. I don't know the appropriate age. That's where I'm just like, but I feel like obviously as far as like it being received well and all that kind of thing, even like people are obviously gonna have their opinions, and like, but the age would be important because they're, like she said, they're gonna have that thing like, they're teaching them this, so they're influencing how they're gonna go. No, that's not. Like you said, it's not how it works. So
I'm just picturing myself back in that age. I can see myself just reading that and just learning it, having a test on it. I don't think it's really a problem how early now to think about it.
I feel like just like in kindergarten, in terms and not to compare the two, because I don't necessarily think that Black history and I don't know if we consider Pride history. I don't think that they're necessarily in the same realm in terms of, like social issues. I feel like they're very separate, but I feel like they can be approached in the same way. So, in kindergarten, you're teaching your kids the very basics of Black history. Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, like just, very surface level. And I feel like you could take that same approach with LGBTQ community, and you don't have to go into the specifics, because I do believe that at a very young age, like again going back to sexuality, not sexuality, but homosexuality being a choice. I don't necessarily feel as a kid that that you just kind of have this feeling that like, okay, I think I'm a little bit different than maybe the average person. Like I'm not necessarily attracted to the opposite sex that is maybe typically taught. I mean, you know, it varies from person to person depending on how that person is raised. But I think that for the person who is gay, that they know that from a very early age. So I'm sure that it would be really influential to that kid that they know at an early age that, oh, this person was able to accomplish this, or this is actually being taught in school. So like it makes them more comfortable in who they are as a person. And so I feel like that would just be beneficial to us as a society, because again, we don't want people to feel like they can't be who they are.
Right. I agree with that. Mostly like not like being able to let them know who they are and stuff like that, and have a representation, and also just like you said, being able to teach them in a way that just like, this person was able to do this, but you know, there's a lot of things in histories where people weren't able to do things because of being LGBTQ or whatever like the case may be. So just having that like in there, just the same way as we teach Black history and stuff like that too, I think, of just showing how there are people who overcame situations from being Black and stuff like that, and still being able to like prosper regardless of what other people may think about what their choices and stuff are, or what their, you know, who they are basically.
Yeah, because I think it just shows, as we see every day, like the lack of, you know, empathy and sympathy in the world. Because if you have sympathy or you have empathy, you can imagine imagine a child, like, you know, discovering those feelings for the first time and knowing the world they live in and not being able to express that because they know the scrutiny or the criticism that will come with that. So they have to then grow up hiding their true self. And like, you know, like Deshaun had said in his podcast, shout out Deshaun, about wearing masks, how a lot of us have, you know, we have our work mask, we have our, you know, our friends group mask, we have our mask when you're with certain, you know what I'm saying, with certain events and organizations. So it's like no, honestly, you shouldn't. A true life is like not having to wear a mask anywhere, and you should just being your true self. So like that is where we're all aspiring to be as a country, as a nation. Like that should be the goal. That's what Christ embodied. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's just be more empathetic towards like the people that don't understand LGBT and all that, and you know, just keep the comments. And like I just wish there's a way to just inform people versus like, it's okay if you don't agree with it and understand it, but you know, you don't have to still be sympathetic and understand these kids or people, like adults that feel like that way, are having to live every day not their true self. Right. That's like most people can't even understand, like, because they, you know, if you're privileged and comfortable, you're like, I'm living my true self. I'm doing whatever. The world works for me. You know what I'm saying? So just take a time to like put yourself in their shoes. Like, but that's what people don't do. That's why there's so many problems with it.
So going into a situation of accepting somebody who's a child who's LGBTQ. So this week, I'm sure you guys seen D Wade and Gabrielle Union. They took their son to Pride, and there was a lot of comments.
Of course.
Of course.
Social media.
I mean, what do you feel like? Do you think that was a good thing for them to take their son to, or like, how do you feel about the situation?
Yeah.
I mean,
first of all, everybody I feel like should get this is miss everybody. It ain't none of our business. First of all, like it ain't none of your business. It's their family. But since you know, I gotta say my opinion on it. Right. I will.
Since we're talking.
All right. Disclaimer.
I mean, I don't see a problem with it. I mean, their son has accepted himself. He's gay. Take him to an event to celebrate him. Be like, what's the issue? I scratch my head on that one.
Yeah, people try to make it seem like he was 11. You know, he shouldn't be introduced to this because they're trying to make it seem like it was a parade of sex.
Yeah.
Versus
that he lost that he got penetrated for the first time.
Right.
That's not what happened. That's not what happens at Pride. And I feel like a lot of people don't know what Pride is. That's like, let's just start there. Before you comment on something, let's figure out if you even know what the fuck you're about to comment on.
Google.
It's free. It's always free. You know, like the internet is literally in your hands. You can look up literally anything. Use it, you know, read. But, you know, we don't like to read. So I don't know if that's even going to
ever happened.
People still gonna have something to say without doing their research. But I think going back to like what I was saying earlier, I'm kind of losing my thought in my head as I'm about to say it. But I know one of my points was that I know a lot of people were saying, "Oh, he should be focused on school and stuff like that instead of." And I'm just like, I feel like people don't understand and realize that like the LGBTQ community, they fight for rights because they're literally oppressed. And so if you are in like, you know, moving around in your everyday life and you're being told that you're not accepted for who you truly are, whether when you're at school, when you're outside hanging out with your friends, you know, by teachers, like by literally everybody except for the people that you come home with, and the people that you come home with have like said that they accept you for who you are, and they take you to an event where they're like, it's even more acceptance, and they're like, hey, this is okay. Mm-hmm. Here are other people who are just like you. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't have to hide who you are. I don't feel that gives him more confidence as a person. Like he's able to move easier, you know, in life because he knows that, okay, I have my parents here who accept me, and not only that, they took me to an event where I can be able to know other people who are very similar to me as a person as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that he could draw inspiration from and see, you know, older figures that, you know, are just like, you know, that are like confident in themselves. It's like, so yeah, like he said, like it's just as far as like parenting, it's not your business. It's just I hate that like they're in the public eye because, you know, Dewark Union, you know, they're a power couple, of course, so like they're under the scope at all times. And you know, but that can be good and bad. But it's just like at the end of the day, like they are, you know, they're ordinary people living their life, raising their family the way they want to, and the way I have no problem with it. I feel it's a good thing to be able to use your resources to allow your child to, you know, grow and develop naturally. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times the people that are growing up with those feelings that they can't express, you're not growing up naturally. You're growing up like hiding yourself and growing up having to be a different person than other people. That changes you. That changes like they can change the person you were really meant to be, or delay it, rather. So, because I feel like, you know, eventually, you know, if you keep the faith, like God's going to deliver you. You know what I'm saying? To end up living your true life. But it just, I know in America, like we fear we wouldn't understand. So rather than getting informed and going on Google and just like trying to get informed and like see like maybe I could understand this, because you never know. Like what if you just got educated? What if you got educated on it and you finally understood it? That could happen, but you don't give it a chance. You just comment on it, and that's just America. We fear we don't understand. Mm-hmm. So then we attack it.
Very true. I just think it's ridiculous, like black people like rejecting other black people or just people in general who are being oppressed. Like we don't understand where that comes from. Like how could you know?
It's a contradiction.
It is. Yeah. Like you said, it's just like the craziest thing. How can you literally do the same thing that is being done to you on a regular?
Yeah. And I kind of want to hit on that, like going into kind of like a subtopic. Do you mind if I kind of okay? Because for me, I think so many times in any kind of social movement, especially with people of color, you always see black women at the forefront. And even in the LGBTQ community, you see black women at the forefront. And I feel like the biggest contradiction with black women when it comes to the LGBTQ community is that we're not accepting of bisexual black men. And like we already know that there's going to be a whole group of black men who are going to be homophobic in their own way. But I think it's a contradiction for us to say, oh, we support the LGBTQ community and stuff like that, but as soon as you find out that a man is bisexual, you're like, oh, I can't go out with you.
Right. It's like that episode of Insecure when
yes, with Molly. Yes. Like I don't feel like you're contributing to the oppression of that person. Like you're literally telling them, oh, you've had sex with a man before? Well, now I can't have sex with you because
now you're gay.
Yeah, like you're gay. And I feel like that's not okay. I feel like a lot of black women contribute to the problem. They don't even realize it.
Very true. That's often a topic that I've heard with black women, like,
for sure, very
frequently. Just like any sign of like him doing something that seems not manly enough turns into, well, he kind of sweeter, like he kind of like.
But the interesting part, in my opinion, you would be very surprised at the amount of black men who are bi-curious or may have been with a man before and you would never know it.
Very true.
So just because he tells you that he has before, it changes your mind. And I can understand there being like maybe a moment of like, okay, well, let me think on this. But I don't feel like your answer just should be flat out, no, I will never have sex with a man who's had sex with another man. Like,
Right.
I just don't feel like that's okay. As long as you're like practicing safe sex, I don't understand the issue.
Yeah. And as long as, you know, they're...
Unpopular
just with you,
opinion.
but
Whatever. I don't give a fuck.
Those opinions be mattering sometimes.
I mean, I've like condemned my female friends who've like talked out against it because I can be honest and say like I've had sex with a bisexual man before.
Mm-hmm.
It was sex, like it was good. Like I mean, like a penis is a penis.
She just flipped the table on the show.
I'm just saying, shaking the damn table, right?
Flipping the damn table.
I'm saying, take that with you how you want it, like whatever.
This ain't gonna be your next episode. This one's here one. This is
But
okay.
that's what you need for real. That's honest.
Yeah,
That's very
that's
honest.
real.
And we have to
That's
check
real.
ourselves. It's accountability
Yeah,
in
for
this
sure.
shit, for sure, because we need to be more together in all of this shit. And if we have
true.
like us
Facts.
coming together, like coming against each other for like little stuff like that, how we gonna stand together when big shit happen?
Yeah,
Right.
It's true.
for sure.
We're gonna be together. We gotta attack it at all.
100%. 100%.
So,
You
I
can't.
feel it. I feel it.
Yeah.
Very
Can't be like unified in all these areas with black people, but I don't like what black people do. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not. It's 100%. That's why other races thrive. You know what I'm saying? Not like the privileged ones that were set up from the jump. I'm talking about like other races. No.
Like Asian.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
They have their sense of
People,
their sense of community is we could know like it is. We need to
Yeah.
emulate. I'm telling you,
For
like
sure.
Chinese,
Because they look out for
Asian.
each other
Yeah.
all the
Yes.
time.
All the time.
All the time. Like they are family, literally. Like that sense of community, that's what we need to strive for. Because this whole like you have a different you believe a different thing, so we can't. So like that. Like I said in the last episode, one of the biggest things I feel like that hurt just humanity as a whole was division. You know what I'm saying? Like we got divided from the white race. Then they divided us within each other. And that creates like division and like perspectives and differences in perspectives, and that causes you to like act like basically if you think differently, you are differently. We can't coexist. Like that's what we need to. That stigma needs to like die because that's what's causing this cycle to keep going. And we're uninformed.
Going off of what you said about like us being unified, with me being, I feel like an ally of the LGBTQ community, I have a very hard time talking to people who are not believers in being allies with the community or speaking against it or being, because especially, being down south and being black, you deal with a lot of very homophobic men who are like, I literally heard this in the studio a couple weeks ago. This guy was like, Just Smollett need to go to jail. I don't like them putting all that gay shit on TV. Why they put Empire on during prime time when kids gonna be watching it? And I was just like, sitting there staring at him with my mouth open because I was like, just by the way that you talk, I can tell that you don't read very often, and so I don't even want to have any kind of a conversation with you. Like, and it makes me want to be like it makes me not want to be unified in that moment. It makes me want to like cuss you out and be like, fuck you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Get out my face. Next time you read a book, then we come talk. Okay?
Right.
Like, that's how I feel. And yeah, so sometimes I'm like, I have that internal conflict because it's like, do I want to take out the time to try to educate you, or do I just want to walk away from this situation and roll my eyes because you're clearly very ignorant?
You know what? That's a very good point. Because a lot of times I just walk away from my eyes because I be like, look, I don't have the time for this.
Or the
like,
energy.
Look, for
Yeah.
real. But we do have to, take more accountability and helping the people who don't know.
Yeah.
Just be like, here's the book you can read.
Yeah, I think that.
Sure.
All right, like here's a link. That's actually a good point. Like I think like that's actually something we should like really. That last part, as far as like my train of thought is
It
I know it's like this should be a call to action for us to like. Instead of like, when you are facing that ignorant person and like, just like walking away, like that is also an opportunity to educate somebody and possibly, possibly lead them, in a better.
Those arguments be going left.
Right. That's the thing though.
It's like, you ain't even had the energy right
enter
now.
with caution, definitely, and only if you have the energy for it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can make an attempt.
Right, exactly. 'Cause, when you close, it's basically like closing an opportunity for someone to change.
Right.
Yeah.
Because you possibly could be that factor, you know what I'm saying? But I know it'd be easy when they talking like that, just like,
Yeah, somebody like
clearly I can't help you. You need more than my
Let me get a
services.
day to prepare for this.
Right. So
Right.
yeah, we can also do more towards the people that don't get it.
I was just thinking about, I remember we was talking about I forgot what we were talking about in the group meeting with all the guys, but I had made a comment. I just started thinking, like, when you think about it, I admire like homosexuals because they literally accepted themselves. They literally, once you accept yourself and can live your truth, you have like no boundaries. Like you kind of set yourself free to just not be judged, not let anything affect you. We all need to strive to be like that. So they're really the most admirable people because they not. I don't care what y'all think. You know, I'm gonna live my truth regardless. You know. And so they really should be an inspiration for us to, even if you're not homosexual, it's just to just be whoever you want to be. And then secondly, like, if you don't understand it, man, like, we all should have empathy towards each and every person anyway, regardless. So if you're trying to be more like Christ, more like God, you know, Holy Spirit is empathetic, you know, you just want to help people and just care about people. It's not really about it's not about that. When you think about your purpose, is you know, the spread, you know, positivity, God's word, and that's it. Like, you're not supposed to judge, and Christians the biggest hypocrites, and it's just, it sucks, you know. Shaking the tube. Regardless if you don't agree with it, God also said, don't judge people, you know, and care about people. Okay. Love is the, you know, the greatest commandment. So, amen. I think something like that, but yeah, love people. I'm done. Right.
For sure.
No, that's definitely. Yeah, I think everything that we brought up, very good points. I mean, it's just a matter of like generational curses. I think you know, just breaking stigmas of our mindsets of right, because you know, our parents and like their parents and stuff like that, like it was way more stricter. Like we actually see the world where they have rights. They didn't even see any of that, so it was just like. You have, like you said, you do have to be empathetic of other people and like what they're doing. We have to find the time sometimes to educate. No, it's hard, but
patience is key.
And it's it's really our job, our generation's job to make it better for the upcoming. You know, we next. You know, we can do more, achieve way more. It's just like we came into this. You know.
But I think, you know, if you do have a gay child, take your child out to Pride. Let them see, you know, their representation and everything like that. You know, at least, you know, open up your mind to accept who they are truly and understand what they're going through, if nothing else. But, you know, that was a very good topic, and have to thank CoCo for coming through.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for breaking the damn table.
Breaking the damn, flipping the We need a new table.
I'll bring y'all a new one.
And y'all make sure y'all follow her everywhere, and thank y'all so much, and check us out next week.